For the Patreon pick this week, as requested by Lava Skin, thank you, was the 2011 film Into the Forest of Fireflies Light, which is, of course, the story of a young girl who gets lost in the woods and is rescued by a spirit, who she very quickly learns that if it gets touched by a human, it'll just fucking vaporize, vanish, and die, whatever, however you want to describe it. And they basically just form a friendship. She keeps going and seeing him every summer. Eventually they fall in love, and he dies in the way you'd expect by getting touched by.
Dude, fun fact about To the Forest of Firefly Lights, this story was written as a tribute to a friend who died of cancer.
Aww. Dylan, what'd you think of this movie?
I thought it was very cute. When I was watching it, I made a comparison to another one we watched.
I Want to Eat Your Pancreas.
Recently. No.
Oh.
It doesn't make any sense as to the comparison I made. It was very recently, like we just watched it, basically. No, it was another anime movie. What was it? It wasn't very good.
Oh, is it Fireworks?
No. Like I said, it doesn't make any sense. Was it the vampire one?
Josei?
Yeah, okay. No, not Josei. The vampire one.
Oh, okay. What was similar about them?
Yeah, what the fuck could possibly be the comparison?
They're both short.
Actually, that's more true than you would think, Tanner, because it was more like... You guys could laugh at me, or you could let me explain my thought process here.
Go
for it.
Anyway, because I felt like the issue with whatever that other one was called, is there was just, and admittedly it was like an OVA or whatever, it was like of a show, so it was whatever. But regardless, this movie is a good example of what that movie didn't do, and it felt like this movie built up a lot more emotion. I cared about the characters a lot more, and there was kind of a repetition in the plot that kind of, I guess, made the emotion sink in a little better. And yeah, I don't know, I think despite it being shorter, I think it established like its setting and mood very well. And I remember at the part where he basically died, I was like, oh man, this would be a really unfortunate time to find out that that little boy that he helped, like, altruistically helped from falling, trying to be a good spirit, I guess, if you want to say that. It'd be really unfortunate if he was a human boy. And then I see his hands start to glow and disintegrate. I was like, ah, shit, no fucking way. And I didn't cry at that part, but, like, I felt like if we had the movie a little more fleshed out, if it was a little longer, I could have. So they had that really touching moment there where it was like, oh, I could finally touch you. Come here, give me a hug. And then they finally, like, embraced, and it was very sweet. I don't know. I just felt like it was a very concise, short, sweet movie. I liked it a lot.
I think the movie is cute, but it has its flaws. The biggest flaw, which has not been said yet,
is that it's bad, and this guy's a groomer and a pedophile. Ew, gross.
Yeah, the grooming is the biggest thing. There's a lot of arguments to be made about the biology of this spirit, you know, like how old truly are they, potentially? I mean, they act a lot more mature than the 9-year-old that he's hanging out with in the woods every summer. But, you know, there's questions to be made about the ethics, I guess, of this relationship. Granted, they don't touch, you know, their love blossoms at the later part of it, but it's still pretty fucking creepy. Like, it's hard to look at it and not take it like that. I am, of course, going to not look at, I mean, that's definitely dragging it down, but I'm just going to assume that there's some fucking, I don't know, the spirit maybe is like a child at heart or some shit. I don't fucking know.
You know, it's anime at the end of the day. It doesn't fucking matter. There's weirder shit constantly going on with this stuff. You can kind of hand wave it.
It's mostly just because they don't particularly describe the actual scenario of the ghost. We don't really know a ton about it. Like, he could be like 100 years old, but I don't know. There could be like he's like still stuck in the mind of like a toddler or something. We don't really fucking know. There's a lot of questions. We can assume he's a groomer. I think it's likely, but also, you know, there's a lot of, you know, you could fucking reason your way out of it, potentially, just with the amount of ignorance we are to the situation.
He also started as a baby, too, though. So, like, did he just age up and then just, like, stop aging at a certain point? Or...
That's kind of the only thing that makes any sense. I got a quick question. Why is the movie called To the Forest of Firefly Lights?
It's called Into, so I guess it's just describing the journey of the girl to the forest of Firefly Light.
We were on opposite sides of this argument, Jackson, where you were saying it's to and I was saying it's into.
Again, I'm going off of the name that appears on my anime list, which is Into.
I thought
think.
the consensus was that it's unclear and it probably doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, it's just a translation. It doesn't really matter, but the general idea is just you're entering the forest of Fireflies light in some verb.
I'm more so commenting on us seemingly reversing our positions.
Well, I've always been on it's just my anime list. You can fucking say I'm not all this fucking time, but I even fact checked it. It's literally just the name on my anime list. I wasn't gonna look at my anime list during that previous discussion, say, oh yeah, it's Into, and then just lie.
I don't know. What does IMDb say?
I don't think this is important. This is such a minor detail. It does not matter to anything.
I think this is a funny argument, though, Nico.
Yeah, what the fuck else are we gonna talk about? I guess the ending, potentially, which is the...
Anticlimactic.
Yeah, it's very anticlimactic. I think the actual scene of her hugging the ghost is cute and well animated and sad. And I could see why it would really tear out somebody's heart if they were really invested in the relationship and more emotionally attached to the characters. The problem with it from the start is that we were looking at it from the perspective of Jin as a fucking groomer. So it was really hard to actually get invested into the character's relationship at all. And then the ending is just so blatantly, obviously foreshadowed constantly. It's just like the second you see the kid, you just immediately know what's going to happen. There's no suspense or build up to it at all. They're like, oh yeah, if he gets touched by a human, he's gonna disappear. No way. Or are they gonna bring up that plot point and not have him get touched by a human? Obviously, he's gonna get touched by a fucking human. And they're like, oh yeah, sometimes humans sneak in because they think it's a real festival. Obviously, a fucking human's gonna sneak in. They're telling you it's gonna happen. It's just a little too obvious, and it just was funny, honestly, more than heartbreaking or whatever.
I missed that part.
Damn.
I missed literally all. I had an exact opposite experience of this movie than you guys, apparently.
Let's fucking go, dude. I mean, if you watched it and you enjoyed it, then that's a good thing. If we saw it and I had a negative experience, then that's just 45 minutes of wasted time.
I think I was very surface level with everything, and when you're watching things surface level, which is how I typically watch movies anyway, you just tend to forget some details, you know?
Yeah, I was checking out a bunch of reviews for this movie on YouTube throughout the week, and yeah, people fucking love this shit. They're big fans, like, oh, the animation is so good, this has stellar animation, that shit's all just fucking average. Fuck you, dude. Have you ever seen better movies, like maybe Ghost in a Shell, Akira, something cool like that? We haven't seen any of those, but, you know, they're probably pretty good.
Yeah, from the artistic perspective, I think the soundtrack is good. I think, honestly, the highest production value, at least from my perspective, was just the for it. I enjoyed it. I think the music elevated the film to a degree that's a little higher than it actually is. I think from an actual animation and art perspective, it is pretty average. I mean, it's a 2011 film. It really just looks like a TV anime. It doesn't really look like there's anything special going on. So I don't get it. But yeah, like Nico said, people jack this movie off like crazy. People think it's like the second coming of Christ. I see people comparing it to a Silent Voice.
Yeah.
What? Are they insane?
Interesting
this is
perspective.
Complete. I mean, they compare it because they're both sad movies.
That's
but
a lot
they're
of
just in
such
incomprehensible different categories that it just doesn't even make sense that somebody would make that comparison. What's also funny about this is, of course, I got recommended this movie by a fucking girl that was groomed, so it all fucking comes full circle, baby.
Oh.
She related to it a lot.
Yeah, she didn't understand because she was also in that situation, and she didn't understand she was.
Oh.
She's in denial, so I'm not going to talk about this more, but,
That's fine.
You should send this episode to her.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably shouldn't have...
Dude, fuck it, we ball. Do we have anything else to say?
Not really. This is a short movie, dude.
Oh, I guess one thing is the believability of this character being so fucking attached to this guy is just impossible for me to understand.
What?
She spends a couple months of the year. Japanese summers are very short. They get very little time outside of school. So realistically, she was probably spending a month or two hanging out with this guy, and then 10 months out of the year she's away. I find it so hard to fucking believe that she is so infatuated by this dude that she's just sitting there all year round, just non-stop thinking about him. I just can't comprehend that, especially because they don't really show, they're just doing such mundane stuff. This is obviously a problem with the pacing, but she is just so impossibly infatuated with this ghost. I just don't understand it. It's just insanely unbelievable to me.
Women.
Oh.
I mean, it's like this otherworldly scenario that she's found herself in. Like, there are a bunch of like yokai and stuff like that that show themselves whenever he's around. So it's like, you know, it's different. So I could believe that she's like, oh man, I love like being connected to these spirit people or whatever.
I could believe it if they just didn't play it off so much.
Yeah.
Like, they just make it look like she's only fucking thinking about that shit all the goddamn time. Like, she's stuck in a trance. Just, like, locked in. Like, I can't wait till summer all year round. Which, granted, I was doing that shit as a kid, too, but for, like, totally different reasons. It's just insanely unbelievable to me about her just being so laser focused on it. I thought, like, when they were showing the, like, the kid guiding her across the ice, they were gonna try to maybe show, like, an age progression thing of her, like, slowly drifting from Jin over time, and I definitely would have preferred that.
That's what I was expecting, too, there, yeah.
It would have been, I think, a lot nicer. I could have maybe had an emotional impact of, like, maybe her going and seeing him when she's an adult or something like that. But, yeah, like, she's like, I'm in high school now, I can go get a job and live near you so I can see you all day. What the fuck? I don't see it. Yeah.
That doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, she literally at the end, she was like, yeah, no, I'm in high school now, I can get a job when I graduate or something and live near you so I can go see you all year round.
Yeah.
Huh.
She was infatuated with this motherfucker. This is like the hottest guy in all of anime land, even though it just looks like some generic dude.
These things happen.
Well, boys, if that's all we have to say about it, Dylan, do you want to kick us off? A minus. Oh no.
Nico?
Dude, this movie is so beyond fucking average, but at the same time, it's like... It's short, so it doesn't waste my time, which I appreciate. But by the very nature of me having to watch, I do still feel like it wasted my time, and I do have to despise it for that. So I'll go... I might lower this at some point, but I'll go C- for now.
I guess I'll go next. I gave it just a flat C. I'm with Nico on it. This is a very average feeling film for me. It had a lot of potential, though, I feel, to elevate itself. And I'm not saying that really grants it many points, but... It is a pretty well-paced movie for the most part. It's a 45-minute long movie, but I really didn't feel like bored or anything at any point of it. Like, I think they flesh it out well enough within that time period. It's just a lot of, like, wasted... and also, you know, like, the groomer shit. I really wish they just didn't go into the romance subplot at all. That was a big blunder. But yeah, C. I'll probably lower it, too, to be honest.
Yeah, I also gave it a flat C.
And shockingly, that puts it at a C+. Oh.
Wow. Whoa.
That A- did not have as much draw as I expected to. I honestly thought it was going to be in like the B, like the lobes.
Nah.